What's up, everybody? Welcome in. I'm excited for today's video. It is the top 10 most outrageous and unforgettable true crime moments of 2024. Maybe we'll make this something we do annually, because when we went through all of the moments and videos and things we covered in 2024, I couldn't even believe how many outrageous moments happened this year. We're going to go through. You guys are going to vote on which ones you think are the most outrageous while I give you my top 10 list. Let's get into it. So we gave some hints in the thumbnail. Some of them are in there, some of them aren't. But what I want is throughout the video for you to throw in the chat which most outrageous moment sticks out in your mind over the last year. So one of the things that was difficult when John, Kelsey, and I were talking about this is we couldn't remember which ones, especially early in the year, were technically 2023 versus 2024. So there are some that are on the line, and we're just going to have fun with it. We were going to do this as a members only live, but thought it'd be more fun if we just opened it up for the entire channel, because we thought, silly us, we thought it would be kind of a slow week and nothing would really happen. But as you know, if you've seen any of the reports, we have the Blake Lively lawsuit, which we've already done some videos on if you want to check that out, and Luigi Mangione in a court hearing that was streamed, and some very interesting information came out. My dad and I are going to do a video on that tonight, so don't worry. It's just going to be a much busier start to the week than we expected, but we're going to start with the most outrageous things that happened this year. And we were going to say top 10 most outrageous court moments, but they all weren't really court moments. And then we were going to, it was kind of hard for us to parse through what was considered true crime, what wasn't, whatever it may be. It's things we've covered in true crime. And I have a horrible memory when it comes to stuff like this. So, and yeah, some of you guys are throwing out cases as a whole. We didn't do cases as a whole. It was more individual moments or parts of a lot of the cases that you guys are mentioning in the chat. But basically, I couldn't remember anything. I was like, I have no idea what happened this year, what happened last year. But John and Kelsey did an amazing job putting together a ton of different clips, a ton of different outrageous moments, mostly Kelsey, but John had his input as well in there. And we've come up with, after looking at all those, I was like, wow, this is crazy. I don't remember this much wild stuff happening, but I picked my top 10, and we're going to go in order from 10 to 1, showing different clips and snippets. And I haven't watched all these videos. I just know the list of the moments that I picked. And then we're going to have you guys vote on each clip / moment on our outrageosity scale, John is calling it. And basically it's going to be, you vote totally outrageous, somewhat average, or forgettable is going to be our 4-point scale that we're going to be voting it on 1 to 4, basically on which moments you think are the most outrageous and which ones are a little less outrageous. And feel free to tell me where I'm wrong, right? As we go, tell me, oh, this is way too low. This is way too high. You forgot this moment. We'll do some honorable mentions at the end for some of the most mentioned moments on in the chat as we go throughout. And Netwoman is starting us out with a bang. 50 new Lawyer You Know memberships. Merry Christmas to everybody. We're just 2 days away from Christmas, and people are getting gifts from Netwoman. Thank you so much. All right. My nose is like totally stuffed. I don't know if it's because the weather goes cold, hot, cold, hot. It's like 40 degrees one day, 90 degrees the next, but we're going to push through and we're going to deal with it. So number 10 on my list, I see everybody throwing in a bunch of cases. So as we go, you'll start to figure out it's more moments, not cases, or more individual parts of a lot of the cases that you guys are talking about. And to me, and the way I built my list is when it, Paulie said, is it wrong to drink wine at 3 p.m.? Not if you ask my wife. I built my list where the things that really shocked my system. When it happened, I was like, whoa, I did not see that coming, or this is wild in what it looked like. One that didn't make the list, I'll just tell you right now, that would be an honorable mention for me, was Luigi Mangione's perp walk. Like, that was like, wow, this literally seems like a villain out of a Batman movie. Didn't make the list, but that kind of gives you an idea of where we're going. But for the actual list, honorable mentions aside, the first one was to see one of the biggest rap and media moguls of my lifetime get his house raided and eventually indicted for some of the wildest and most disgusting criminal acts anybody can be accused of. And he still sits a presumed innocent man right now awaiting these charges, going to trial. It was P. Diddy and the Raid. Will they go with Rico? So here, we'll see how she does these clips. I don't even know. I haven't seen them, but let's take a look and remember this moment together. Holmes, Puff Daddy, all of the above. His homes were raided in multiple states. Will they go with Rico like they did against R. Kelly?
Sure, there's an excellent chance. I mean, that's
interesting.
Rico's great because
First off, Kelsey, I assume through these dates at the top, is that real? This was all the way back in March. This literally feels like it was yesterday.
Allow so much forfeiture. So Rico's a wonderful
and it lets you bring so many different things in to prove the enterprise and not just sex trafficking or whatever it is. It's like, oh, this guy and that guy saw this and heard this, and this is how weird it was in the house. And you just make him look like a generally bad guy, and they're a lot more likely to be convicted.
Absolutely.
Sean P. Diddy Combs has been indicted. It's something we knew was coming. We just didn't know when. We also get to see my facial hair change as the year goes on. It's going to be a funny thing. And my shirts and everything like that. It's kind of funny.
I'm the U.S. Attorney here in the Southern District of New York. Today, I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution. The indictment alleges that between at least 2008 and the present, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. As alleged in the indictment, to carry out this conduct, Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice. Let me say a little bit more about the charges. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances as male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant. As alleged, when Combs didn't get his way, he was violent. He subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs, and that Combs hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims at times by their hair. On one occasion in March of 2016, that conduct was captured on video and later reported in the media. Specifically, Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a victim in a Los Angeles hotel when the victim was attempting to flee. Alleged, these assaults often resulted in injuries to the victims, which took days or weeks to heal. In addition to violence, the indictment alleges that Combs threatened and coerced victims their security or to get his way. Baby oil, false narrative, multiple victims.
All right. We know what the allegations are. Let's move on to wild moment number 2. Wild moment number 9. Before we get there, Kelsey, did you throw up the poll? I didn't tell you to throw up the poll. So why don't we throw up the poll now to how outrageous it was on our outrageous scale when P. Diddy his house was raided and later indicted on federal RICO charges. As we do that, Rebecca says, how about fantasy football? Love you, little sis, Ashley and Jen. Yeah, an interesting Final Four. I've got to hold on. If I hold on, I get into the championship against Rebecca. So next week is going to be a big one. Actually, I think it's a 2-week championship. So all the marbles coming on. Confused the two Peters on screen. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be playing clips from the 10 most outrageous and unforgettable true crime moments of 2024. Kelsey can let me know what the poll results are as we get to number 9. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for also gifting 20 Lawyer You Know memberships in the Christmas spirit here. No Scrooges in our chat. But so here we go. Number 9 is something that lets us know today's day and age is different. These cases are going to be handled differently now that we have YouTube. We have other ways of viewing these cases, streaming these cases, learning about these cases. It's going to affect these cases in so many different ways, in some ways that you may not even see coming. And Kelsey, just so that you know, whenever I start talking about the next one, you can go ahead and throw up the poll. So first one, we may not have a full poll on, but I knew that YouTube was going to, I don't know if affect is the right word, but is going to become a part of the narrative and a part of the question and a part of the discussion around these cases. And some people from different cases have reached out to me. We've gone to see now a sentencing in a case, but never did I really expect to see a time when a criminal defendant would handwrite a wanted ad and not post it on social media, not post it anywhere, not mail it anywhere, not, put it up in the jail. By the way, people have done that before and they've gotten lawyers, but no. She wrote letters that became part of the public record, which she very well knew. She knew every time she wrote a letter and gave it to the judge, it would become part of the record. And what does she do? She writes a lawyer wanted ad, puts it in one of her letters that she knows is going to get spread on social media and spread publicly. And what does she do? But she ends up getting a lawyer, a real lawyer, somebody who's been elected a public defender in his jurisdiction, a real lawyer to come and accept her case. So let's take a look at how that happened.
That has been an overarching theme throughout the entirety of this criminal investigation and litigation has been the number of lawyers that are coming on and off the case. And I believe we are on number 6 right now currently that was appointed by the court in July.
This is Winston Hobson, her 7th lawyer that asked to be taken off the case. She seems to be okay with it. And he's going to tell us at least one of the reasons why right here. And this is the important quote here for this video.
And she makes difficult demands.
I would say Ms. Boone has some ideas about what should be done, should not be done. I don't agree with those. Some things she wants done and won't do.
This is lawyer number 8 that we are about to take a look at here, and it's Patricia Cashman.
I had told her from day one that her snotty attitude was inappropriate.
I don't know what she has against me. I told her from day one that her snotty attitude is not appropriate. We've got more in the Sarah Boone saga as her 8th lawyer has officially filed her motion to withdraw.
This is a video I can't wait to do. We are going to read the judge's order forcing Sarah Boone to represent herself.
The wanted ad by Sarah Boone that she wants posted everywhere. Inmate seeks attorney, looking for a prosperous challenge. So is it going to be prosperous? I think she's banking on the attention. Is it going to be a challenge? You better believe it. Are you zealous with a side of keen? Show the world who you are with your original creativity, extraordinary expertise, confident ingenuity. Qualifications must include, okay, so this is interesting. It must include being trustworthy, honest, passion-driven, open-minded, exceptional problem-solving skills. There are some problems to solve, like in every trial. I think that's these first 2 are very important for lawyers. Client inclusion at all times. I'm kind of surprised that wasn't first. Team orientation, collaboration. Extreme efficiency in listening, communicating, understanding. Dedication to success. Possessing a winning mindset. What does that mean? Capability of excellence in representation. Committed. Maintaining faith in the client. Before the case, the client. And the case with the ability to think differently. Overcome all circumstances. Epic opportunity awaits. Sarah Boone with her prison inmate number. Orange County Corrections Department. Invest in the oppressed. Believe. Notice of appearance from the new lawyer for Sarah Boone. This lawyer is James Owens. He enters his appearance as counsel on behalf of the defendant, Sarah Boone. And there we go. It worked. The wanted ad. So the wanted ad, if it wasn't wild enough, it actually worked. I mean, I never thought I'd see the day. I'll just say I never thought I'd see the day. So to update you on your voting, the number 10 pick, the Diddy raid, 47%, which was the majority, voted somewhat outrageous. So 3 on a scale of 1 to 4. But the Sarah Boone wanted ad got 74% of the vote for the top 4 out of 4, totally outrageous. So far it's kind of, getting there. Some funny comments coming in. Tiara said, how do you feel about watching yourself? I kind of just roll my eyes and laugh at myself. I'm like, what? That shirt. And then somebody said, do I have it here? Therapist, said, what do you think about your 4th of July, July 4th attire, Peter? It made me laugh. I'm laughing at myself. It's not the best to watch yourself and listen to yourself, And the comment that said they could listen to me read a book, it's like, I just think I don't think I have a voice. Like recovery addict people said his voice is like butter. Some people just have great voices. I don't feel like I'm one of those. It's distinct, which maybe I guess is good, but not so sure it's like a great radio voice. All right. So let's move on to moment number 8. So the third to the bottom. So the way I would open this one up is only in the movies do people buy one-way tickets to Vietnam to avoid extradition in order to get on a plane and never come home again to try and avoid a hit for hire conspiracy involving an affluent family. Well, only in the movies or in Florida, as that is exactly what allegedly happened with Donna Adelson. Let's take a look.
To you. Why do I have to? Because my attorney said not to. Why do I have to give it to you? This is evidence. Evidence. She's under arrest. I have to go with you. I have to go. I have to go. You don't have that choice. Let me help you out. No, I have to stay. Please don't stay. You need to grab the bags. Take the bags. Yeah. And you need to wait outside. Okay.
My husband's almost 80 years old. He can't
Yeah,
come
I
with
can't.
me?
Please, can I go?
No, you can't join me there.
Oh, don't do this, please.
Please.
Oh,
Someone's got to help him get home. This is terrible. You can't do this. This is insane.
Is that okay with you?
Please. You don't have that with handcuffs on. She's not going anywhere.
Listen, CB, not everybody's going to agree with the list. That's why I watch a lot of like the Dude Perfect Top 10 list, which is hilarious when they roast each other's lists. So if you guys don't like it, then let me know. To me, I could not believe after they went through the entire Charlie Adelson trial with a real lawyer, a big shot lawyer, that they would be so dumb to buy a one-way ticket after Googling extradition, talking on the phone to Charlie and leaving. I could not believe it. This one legitimately shocked my system. John, hopefully you put the poll. Okay, Adelson poll is live, John said. To me, this added so much intrigue to her case and her trial because, again, it could have been exactly like Charlie's, could have been very similar, but this is a big piece of evidence in my opinion. So I'll wait till your guys' votes get in, read a couple comments that have come through. Rebecca said, you know how I pulled off this win this week wearing my Lawyer You Know sweatshirt. Boom. I was wearing mine at some point over the weekend as well when I was doing the Blake Lively video, actually. Promise I cannot tell a lie. My ER patients asked me who the Lawyer You Know was. I told them. Boom. That's right. Every subscriber counts. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Garden Girl said, this is an awesome year in review. Also, love my Lawyer You Know Christmas so soft Gildan shirt. That's awesome. Yeah, I just thought it'd be fun to do, right? I mean, it's just kind of meshing stuff together. Gives us something to talk about on the way out for Christmas. I'm probably not going to do a video for the next couple days, although I am going to do one tonight now. I thought it'd be a fun way. Kelsey did a great job putting these clips together. So I thought it'd be fun for us to review this together and to remember, because there were some I didn't really remember exactly how it happened and exactly how outrageous it was. And then I watched it back and I was like, all right, next. This was something we recently talked about. So the next two, one we recently talked about, one seemed like forever ago, but the one we recently talked about is basically, before we do that, totally outrageous won this one, but only by 45%. So by your guys' votes, you would have Diddy third, Adelson second, and Boone first. So we'll keep track of that based on your guys' votes, what your top 10 looks like. Okay, so this one we recently spoke about with aforementioned recovery addict about a mom and wife who is a convicted killer of her husband at this point. And during sentencing, when she has the opportunity to talk, she literally looks at and points the finger at her son for taking the life of his own father while she's sitting there right before her family's going to go and have Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner together. And now they've got to look across the table like, Mom said it was you, dude. So let's take a look at this.
6 years, 5 months ago today, began the worst nightmare that I could have ever imagined. Not only my world, but my family's world was absolutely destroyed at the hands of one person. I have had 6+ years of being told not to talk. Don't say that. Take legal advice. I could walk out of this courtroom today and drop over dead. I want to make sure that my children, my grandchildren, and Gary's family, and to be honest, at this point in time, the entire world who has viewed this. I have waited for years to make this statement to everyone. I want the world to know who did this. I have always heard that the courtroom is the last place you're going to get the truth. And has that ever been proven to be the truth in this case? Not only did I not do this, I know who did. I know Scott killed his father. He took my husband, the father of Chris, Emily, and Amanda. He took Big Daddy from our grandchildren, Ella, Addison, Olivia, Jax, and James. 3 of them who never got to know Gary. Scott, this is unforgivable.
Sorry, I was on mute. So as we listen to this and continue to, Chris K just posted in the comments, and I have to read it because he's very sarcastic and hilarious. So I don't know if he did this on purpose. I know it is in honor of his mom, which I'm sure is very serious, and who loved Christmas, which is amazing, Chris. And thank you for doing this in her honor. But you also decided to do it in one of the worst motherly moments I've ever seen in my life, especially in 2024 here with Miss Harris on the screen, or Farris on the screen. So I don't know if you did that on purpose, but in honor of Chris's mom, he gifted 10 Lawyer You Know memberships. So thank you, Chris. The timing was impeccable.
Scott has spent an entire life of loving and protecting you, but this I refuse to cover for you. My mother, your mom, begged me to take the blame for this. She said after she talked to you, after Gary died, that she knew you had done it. Her exact words were, "You are his mother. You have to take blame for this." And I told her no, that I couldn't. I still have 3 other children, grandchildren, and this is not a stolen credit card, a check, or a diamond ring that you've pawned, all of which you have done. I saw you coming from that burn pile the morning of July the 5th in your truck.
All right. So we have the Melody Farris sentencing statements that were pretty wild to me. If I'm being honest, the poll is live. If I'm being honest, maybe this could have gone a little lower on the list now that I watched it again. I think it's just like recency bias a little bit. You guys kind of agree. 67%, the majority was totally outrageous. So that puts it in second place for you guys so far. Still just after the Boone wanted ad, which you guys had as number 1 so far. When is the privileged lady going to trial again? I don't remember if they've picked a trial date. I know she has her new lawyers on here now, but I'm not positive. Zom said, to be honest, Peter's voice is also one of the reasons I'm still here with the Lawyer You Know. Music to my ears at 2 or 3 a.m. Hello, Merry Christmas. You have a very different experience with it, Azam. But I think you're the reason a lot of people are here. And one of the big reasons you're here is because of the chat as well, which is always so awesome. And I'm pumped with another year hanging out with you guys. Never thought this YouTube thing would turn into what it is. We'll probably save that. I'll do some stuff next week from North Carolina like I usually do. It's always kind of a fun tradition for me to do some videos up there. Rebecca, thank you for gifting even 5 more. So a wild amount of gifts. I feel like it always happens on this channel right near the end of the year. A lot of memberships being gifted. The next moment is a nightmare of mine that I didn't even know was a nightmare until it happened, because there are certain people in the courtroom that you're supposed to be able to trust, that are supposed to be there to help guide people, tell them what to do, know the rules, make jurors feel comfortable, answer questions that people in the courtroom may have about logistics or scheduling, be a go-between between the judge and the jury and lawyers and be the right-hand man or woman in the courtroom during a trial that everybody knows you're just there to help the wheels of justice continue to turn, but you should not affect them. You should not profit off of them. You should not push your agenda. And if you have some kind of dog in the hunt, you should step aside. That did not happen here. And this is one of the ones that happened earlier in the year. But let's take a look at the Becky Hill saga and
Is that correct?
wild court moment where jurors get interviewed. She writes a book, and it turns out that maybe she did try to influence the trial of a criminal defendant that most people do not like personally, but she overstepped. She did what she should never do in a situation like this. And now lawyers will fear clerks doing something like this if the case is high profile enough.
After the trial's over, you published a book, correct?
Correct.
You have described in your book your role in Switzerland. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And that is that you should not be in any way opinionated about what's going on in the trial. Is that correct?
That's true.
Okay. Yet in your book, you indicated a number of different points during the trial. You had concluded he was guilty. Is that correct? You want me to read you how chilled you were and how you felt that poor Paul and Maggie been executed by him on that scene? That visiting the scene convinced you that he was a horrible, horrible murderer?
Somebody said, Enignet said, Peter's gangsta era. I mean, this was crazy. Like, this was legitimately shocking. Something I've never seen before, never thought would actually happen. Even if they wanted to, I would feel like their job and their livelihood would be too important to them. But instead, a low budget, quick written book that probably didn't sell many copies at all before it all blew up, as the clerk of court, describing it as if she was a juror or if she was a witness or a family member or something, was truly mind-blowing to me that this actually happened in today's day and age, knowing what the internet would do, knowing what it would be like, knowing how high profile the case was. Absolutely wild.
Want me to read that to you, or you will concede that's what you wrote?
I will concede that's what I wrote, but if I may, I would say that a lot of that is poetic license in writing a book and in making it sound.
So she really uses her poetic license. And I want to highlight that. She almost uses poetic license as a license to lie, which is not how it works.
Okay, so some of it's poetic license, and some of it you just stole. You purloined it from that BBC writer, right?
Right, and I object to not only the relevance, but the scope of cross. I would object also under Rule 6.
Some of this is so like funny because it's like the judge already knows there's no jury here. The judge even says that at one point, and the judge is going to let it in, but he hammers her with plagiarism. She admits it and just keeps going on like no big deal.
So 8, I don't believe that's appropriate cross-examination.
Overruled. You may continue, Mr. Harper.
Did you steal part of the book?
I did plagiarize,
Okay,
Mr. Harper.
that's stealing, isn't it?
It is, and for
Okay.
that I'm very sorry, and I have apologized.
Okay, and that makes it okay?
What I did, and I apologize for that.
And part of the book is, you say, literary license, exaggeration?
I wouldn't call it exaggeration.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. In Switzerland, and this is, you're saying this is happening while you're supposed to be Switzerland, you decided the defendant's guilty. And if Ms. McElmeen says that it's going to make you more money if you found guilty, don't you think it's reasonable to assume that you may have crossed the line from time to time?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable that it got that far. Unbelievable what she did, even to what she admitted to doing, right? Including the plagiarisms, the poetic license, and things like that. Lori said, Peter, I want to say thanks for the laughs, but then I realized how these stories are all, these stories are, and the suffering they caused. So I'll just say Merry Christmas and thanks for all you do. Thank you, Lori. And I agree with you. Like, it's almost like, like that kind of laugh, like you're shocked. It's not funny what happens to these people. It's not funny that she did this. It's not funny what happened to Murdoch or his family or what everybody did in, that situation, what happened to the victims in that situation. It's all incredibly sad. But the fact that some of this is real life is hard to fathom. It's hard to fathom. The people that say we're living in a simulation, sometimes I'm like, I don't know. It seems kind of wild. So this one didn't rate very high. Only 53% say totally outrageous. So that ranks 3rd out of 5 so far. 3rd out of 5 so far for you guys. And I'll read your top 10 list based on your votes and where I was wrong at the end, like I said. And speaking of not being real life, movie sets, right? It's in a movie. What happens in a movie set? We learn with Blake Lively. There are lines. There are things that no matter how many movies you do, it still be inappropriate. Can't do it. Regardless of if you've done it before. You don't sign up for dangerous activity. And if someone dies on a movie set, usually crimes are charged. And when victims lose their life and sons lose their mothers and husbands lose their wives, justice ensures that people must pay for that. There was a bunch of civil cases. There was a couple criminal cases. There was a criminal conviction, some civil settlements where money was exchanged. But when the pretty much A-list as A-list gets, Alec Baldwin, a name that, is a big family name, whether it's marrying celebrities or other actors, but he himself, probably the biggest Baldwin name in the family. And he goes to trial. And the allegations and the facts were kind of shaky to begin with. But we've also seen, unfortunately, in 2024, a lot of prosecutorial misconduct. But very rarely do we see a judge step up and hold the prosecutor's feet to the fire and protect the defendant's constitutional rights and say, this is not a fair trial. I refuse to let you go forward. We are throwing this case out. But that's exactly what happened here. I never saw this coming. I thought he had a chance to win based on the facts of the case, but I never saw it coming that a judge would actually throw out these charges knowing this isn't like a case like, Karen Reed or whatever it may be, where it's not a celebrity and maybe some people would be surprised just how many people are watching it. Everybody knew everybody would be watching this case. And she still did what was right. Let's take a listen.
The sanction of dismissal is the only warranted remedy. The jury has been sworn, jeopardy has attached, and a mistrial would not be based upon manifest necessity. Further, the sanction of dismissal is warranted in this case. The state has repeatedly made representations to defense and to the court that they were compliant with all their discovery obligations. Despite their repeated representations, they have continued to fail to disclose critical evidence to the defendant. Brady and Harper are satisfied. Dismissal with prejudice is warranted. Court also has inherent power. Per State versus Lemire, where discovery violations inject needless delay into the proceedings, courts may impose meaningful sanctions to effectuate their inherent power and promote efficient judicial administration. The state's discovery violation has injected a needless, incurable delay into the instant jury trial. Dismissal with prejudice is warranted to ensure the integrity of the judicial system and the efficient administration of justice. Your motion to dismiss with prejudice is granted.
Totally wild that it actually happened. And other context around this, the fact that the prosecutor took the witness stand to be questioned by the defense lawyer and questioned by the judge and tried to lawyer her way and talk her way out of it was unreal. Again, I don't know. You guys may not know this, right? For those of you who haven't been into true crime for very long or haven't watched a ton of trials, like, we will probably never see that again. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we never saw that exact factual scenario again. A-list celebrity, charges dismissed. First off, charges dropped, charges brought again, special prosecutor, charges dismissed, prosecutor takes the stand, files motions for reconsideration after the case has been dismissed. That is truly a case and a situation I don't think we'll ever see again. All right. The votes are tallied and you have 59% totally outrageous. So that jumps into third place right now for you guys. Sarah Boone is still taking it. Her appeal was more outrageous. A lot of wild stuff going on in that. Brooklyn Basement said, longtime fam, been on rewatch for months, missing you and the chat and the stash. Like, whoa, will the Luigi video later with Papa TV live? I don't think so. I've got some stuff I have to do now and later, Christmas parties and so on and so forth. So I think we'll have to record it when we have some time and probably post it later tonight will be my guess. Dana, Peter, been with you for 2 years now. That's awesome. So much to enjoy your trial and legal coverage. Best law channel in the YouTube universe. Hit like everybody. Thank you so much, Dana. I appreciate it. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate all your questions and comments. It's really what makes it fun for me. All right, next up, from a real movie to what felt like a mob movie. And again, recent, when I heard this story was so wild and made so little sense and was so outrageous to me that we kind of knew from the jump there had to be more. There had to be more than what it looked like. And we're just going to do a quick clip of this, and then we'll talk about it a little bit after. John, you can go ahead and throw the poll up for this one as well. In a judge's chambers, the actual sitting sheriff walks in and execution style with a firearm takes the judge's life as he literally basically begs for it. It made no sense at the time when we saw it and when we heard it. And this is Sheriff Mickey Steins, and Judge Mullins, I believe. The name, there's way too many names in here for the top 10 moments for me to get them all right. But figuring out what is going on in that case is going to be therapeutic, because when we saw that, we all were like, what in the world? How is it possible? How would he be allowed in there? If he was mad at him and people knew he was mad at him, why would they let him in there? And now, as we start to learn, allegedly Mullins may have been involved in some of the things happening in the back side of cases, trading sexual favors for favorable outcomes for some criminal defendants. It is truly a story, I think, that we are just scratching the surface on. But from my perspective, when I saw that and people were sending me that, I was like, whoa, absolutely wild. Rebecca said, I want to thank you and this channel for assisting in making me so many close friends. Yeah, that's fun too. Now, again, another thing I never thought would happen. I'll wait for John to give me the poll results. Get that beanie made in pink and I'll buy it. John usually controls the colors of that stuff. Azam said, thanks for the love, chat. You know, I love you too. I see how much the chat has grown. Joined 2.5 years ago, learned a lot. I appreciate the Lawyer You Know crew so much. Whitney too. Looking forward to 2025. Yes, we have so much more coming in 2025, and we have so many more members coming with us into 2025. Netwoman dropped 50 more membership gifts. Netwoman. This is the most outrageous thing that's happened this week, is Netwoman gifting all of these memberships. Thank you so much, Netwoman. We have made our way. Oh, before we get there, 75% voted that one totally outrageous, the judge shooting. So that puts that into second place first place. Sarah Boone was 74%. So that is our number one most outrageous moment so far, according to you guys. So at least I got part of the list right? But now we get into the top three. The top three. And this first one in the top three, which is the third, we're going backwards. So we still have 3, 2, 1 to go. To me, I can't believe it happened. Couldn't believe it happened at the time. It's 2024. It's not 1920. We have protections in place. We have security detail in place. We have bailiffs in place. It wasn't like somebody getting sentenced to life. It wasn't even somebody who was in custody, but it was somebody who snapped. And this helps you understand why certain protections are put in place by law enforcement, by bailiffs, why they have to kind of expect the unexpected. I think these types of situations are what make it so difficult to be a law enforcement officer, and how to react, when to react, what to do, what's appropriate. Let's take a look at this.
Nevada, in accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada.
I believe this is the aftermath, I guess. I mean, this, I'll just tell you. So these top three, I want to play it again without the sound. These top three, to me, any of them could have been number one, including that is literally, that should never happen. That one literally startled me and I know there were judges talking about this afterwards, what they would do, how they would react. That one to me was absolutely insane. And based on your voting, it is your number one so far. How outrageous was the storming of the judge while sitting on the bench? 84%. Yeah, that one was totally outrageous. And that one has affected the system, right? Like that reset everybody, be like, this is real. People can do this. We have to be careful. Period. And Paula Z mentioned this earlier. I was saving it for now. Another one Paula Z mentioned and KO mentioned was one of the biggest cases that blindsided me this year. I didn't even know about it until the trial started. And you guys said, hey, we need to cover this case. And I was like, well, we're too far along. I'm not going to look at it until the trial starts. And the trial started, and we had things like red Solo cups used in evidence, which we thought about putting on the list, but we maybe even combined a few things into this clip. But the most shocking thing to me in the Karen Reed trial, without a doubt, because I've seen bad police investigations before. I've seen them use, do things without gloves or put things in bags that aren't sealed and do things that just totally screw up the chain of custody. But to get a law enforcement officer's private cell phone and to find on that private cell phone deplorable, disgusting, demeaning text messages that would make you hate his guts if you didn't know him. And basically anything he did, how can you look at it and be like, yeah, I'm on his team? Mentioned over and over again by the defense before, during, and after the trial, including in opening statements and, of course, in closing arguments. And then to put him on the stand and make him read his own vile texts was a truly, truly shocking moment to me.
All accounts, he didn't do anything wrong. From all accounts, he didn't do anything wrong. She's a whack job. C-U-N-T. Yes, she's a babe. Weird Fall River accent, though.
And then they're like, no, say it. Don't spell it, say it. And he actually did have to say it. We don't have that part, but.
Though. No ass. Number ending in 4146. Question is that chick a smoke? Again, 4146 question mark. I respond EH. I respond again, not bag, as Chief would say. I also respond with, she's got a leaky balloon knot, leaks poo.
And what, if anything, is that in reference to?
Again, to misread some medical conditions there. Again, unprofessional comments I should not have made.
Yeah, duh.
That I'm not proud of. These came from me. Funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone. No nude so far. I hate that man. I truly hate him.
I mean, even knowing what they're saying and listening to him read them again was like, how do you show your face? And frankly, it's like, if he apologizes, he asks for forgiveness, and it's true forgiveness, that's fine. It's up to Karen Reed, if she wants to forgive. If somebody said that about me and I felt like it was a true apology, I would forgive them, or at least try to. But it's like, how do you come back? Like, your life should change. If you're saying and doing stuff like that and it gets caught and the world knows about it, your life should change. Truly deplorable. This is the most disgusting behavior that we saw from any investigator, law enforcement officer, prosecutor. This has to take the cake. So I'll wait for John to throw up the, Paula Z also said this one as well. I mean, absolutely horrible to think about. Ugh. That woman said, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Hope that you all have a very joyful break with loved ones. I have to elf along now. Well, that woman, thank you so much for being here. And she did it again on her way out. 50 more friends coming with her to our December members only live, which is going to be next week. We'll do like an end of the year, either recap or look into 2025, something like that. Make sure you're there, or square, or be square, be there, be square, whatever it is. Netwoman's going to be there. Absolutely unreal. Thank you so much, Netwoman. Wow. Okay. So 79% have Trooper Proctor's text messages as totally outrageous, which puts it in second place. The judge storming of the bench was first. Thank you so much, Netwoman. Yeah, everybody hit the like button for Netwoman as she takes off. All right. So the number one moment, and I am a lawyer, right? So I don't know if this would have been Kelsey or John's pick for number one. I don't know if it'll be yours. Just so you guys know, 84% as totally outrageous for this entire chat is in first place. 79% is in second. 75% is in third. 74% is in fourth. Those are kind of the top four. So in order to beat those, almost everybody has to click totally outrageous, but I don't know if you will, because this to me was shocking, because I just don't think a judge should ever be so far out above their skis to where they're trying to force their hand, trying to assert their dominance and power. And when it's not happening and a lawyer refuses to be railroaded, to decide to throw a lawyer in jail when you know your trial is being streamed internationally after already numerous embarrassing flubs throughout the case. I cannot believe something like that happened. I cannot believe we have a lawyer disrobing in the courtroom, being taken out and asking if he could have the jail cell or share a cell with his client that's been in prison or in jail waiting for this trial. But that happened in the year of our Lord 2024. Let's take a look at that clip together.
Violation of the sacrosanctness of the court's chambers and an ex parte conversation. You're just glossing over that. You're glossing over that in its entirety. No, it's not, sir. Sir, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. I'm just telling you, that's not what happened.
Judge, respectfully, we are not obligated to simply accept that there's been no violation. We believe that there has been, and the only
Okay, well then no, we're not doing that at this point in time. So you'll have a choice to make. All right, take Mr. Steele into custody, please.
Even the bailiff like taps him on the shoulder like, I'm sorry, man. This is crazy.
Your Honor, would the court afford me one moment to confer with counsel regarding the appropriate remedy in this type of
Okay, all right.
It's wild.
And I would be very careful if I were you.
And then using it to basically threaten the other lawyers.
Because you have some professional responsibility obligations individually and to this court. And so I would just leave it at that respectfully. I don't want to get into an argument with you about that, but I would just tell you that tread lightly, okay, in terms of that at this point.
I understand, Your Honor, and I believe that the certificate of immediate review would be in the interest of the court.
I'm not going to do that.
Would you make factual findings regarding?
I am not at this point in time going to, I've denied the motion. Okay.
I believe that's an error, Your Honor.
So based on the foregoing, this court hereby orders the follows. Kendrick's motion to recuse is granted. Jeffrey Williams' motion to recuse is granted. The clerk of court shall reassign the case to the other judge, which we already talked about. But look at number 2. Bumpus' motion to quash and the show cause order is denied as moot. Absolutely correct. And again, to me, another indication that Steele's contempt should absolutely be overturned.
Wild scenario that can happen. And again, that one is also a testament to me. John, let me know how that one voted out. But that is a testament to me that transparency is good. In 2024, transparency is good because God forbid something like that. I'll just tell you, money and fame and power and video cameras and whatever it may be, it doesn't change you. It just makes you more of who you are, right? And my guess is this judge had this in him, this type of attitude and action. And if this happens with no cameras and basically behind closed doors, it is much less likely to go the way that it did. So from my perspective, cameras can really be a good thing. And frankly, for Sarah Boone, right? However anybody wants to talk about Sarah Boone, I'm glad she had a lawyer. I'm glad she had a real lawyer. I'm glad she got a real defense. I'm glad the jury got to see all of her arguments, that she got to take the stand and say what she want to say, because we can feel more confident about their verdict. And I think the transparency, I think the cameras, I think the discussions are helpful generally, as long as we're careful about how we talk about them, right? We don't jump to conclusions. We don't convict people in the court of public opinion before the trial starts. We don't become a part of the problem. We become part of the solution. All right, so Steele got 73% as the most outrageous moment. All right, so let me read them to you guys in your order of top 10. First off, here's my top 10. Brian Steele arrested, number 1. Proctor Texts, number 2. Judge attacked on bench, number 3. Sheriff shoots the judge, number 4. Baldwin Mistrial, number 5. Miss Becky Hill writing her book, number 6. The Farris sentencing, number 7. Adelson stopped at the airport, number 8. Boone lawyer wanted ad, number 9. And Diddy raid, number 10. And the way you guys had it was the Diddy raid was number 10. Number 9 was Adelson trying to escape, getting caught at the airport. Number 8 was the number 8 was the Becky Hill saga. Number 7 was Farris. Number 6 was Baldwin. Number 5 was Brian Steele. Number 4 was Sarah Boone. Number 3 was the judge sheriff shooting. Number 2 were the Proctor texts. And number 1 was the storming of the judge while sitting on the bench. So it looks like I had Brian Steele too high, according to you guys, and Sarah Boone too low. But generally, I think we're kind of in the same realm there. But yeah, so many unbelievable moments this year. Therapist, said montage of the year's woofs and a montage of botched idioms, cliches, and quotes. Azam also wants some woof moments. I think John and Kelsey could have some fun with that. Dana asked for the botched cliches. I don't know. Do you guys want to sit here for 2 hours and listen to me just botch cliches? Because I'm sure that's how long they would be. We'll see if any of you guys have any of them saved, send them in and maybe we'll put something together with all of that. Joanne said, why was he arrested? I turned out after all these drama. So it's very, very complicated, but he found out about an improper ex parte communication, brought it to the judge's attention and wouldn't just be quiet about it basically and listen to what the judge said. But there's tons of videos on the channel about it if you want to go check them out. One of the things I've learned watching your channel is that all judges are not created equal. Merry Christmas. Yes, Cheryl. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Rebecca said, shout out from your auntie Kendall and her classmates. Go big or go home, future lawyers. Yes. So one of the things I wanted to end with were some honorable mentions. Somebody said Robert Tella's narrative. So that was actually on the list. And that was probably 11. If we were going to have 11, that was probably on the list. Luigi Mangione perp walk was another one that could be on the list. Taylor Shabusiness attacking her attorney. We had a couple people post that. I saw a bunch of those. I saw some other YSL moments. I saw Trooper Paul from the Karen Reed case. All of those honorable mentions. Trying to think if there was any other ones that, I don't know if there's anyone that you guys saw. But I thought it was kind of cool to look back, reflect on 2024 a little bit, our thoughts. We'll do a little bit more of that in the Members Only Live next week. But I appreciate you guys. We'll talk a little bit more about that perp walk and about Luigi Mangione's hearing tonight. And I'll be bringing my dad on for that as well. So you guys don't want to miss that. Make sure you subscribe and hit that reminder bell so you don't miss that. But that's it. That's all we got. That was a fun one. Thank you, Kelsey, for putting the clips together. Make sure you guys hit that like button and comment, and thank Kelsey for putting those clips together. But that's all we got. So until next time, I am out of here. Thanks for watching another episode of The Lawyer You Know. If you enjoyed the episode, please hit the thumbs up and share with your friends who may be interested here on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. And don't forget to check out the Lawyer You Know podcast with new seasons dropping every quarter. If you have a case you want to talk to us about, if it's a personal injury case, wrongful death, catastrophic injury, car accident, or slip and fall case, please email us at lawyeryouknow@gmail.com. And of course, all these links I just mentioned are included in the description below on this episode and every episode. So until next time, this is Peter Tragos, The Lawyer You Know.